Hi guys, this is Mr. Tan, and we are looking at business strategy, and we're going to be looking at various models in terms of seeing how you can develop business or see what you should do with product ranges or strategic business units. So what is strategic planning? Strategic planning is basically about thinking about the future. Strategic intent. Planning for your long-term goals, conducting evaluation analysis, and it's also takes into consideration the corporate culture of your company and the different options or types of strategy. So we're going to be looking at the BCG Matrix. So the Boston Consultancy Group Matrix, this matrix you may have seen before, and there are four parts to this BCG matrix, which includes the question mark, the stars, the cash cow, and the dogs. So if we look at the top headings, which is the relative market share, and the relative market share shows what position you would be in if you had a high or low relative market share. So if you had a low market share, then obviously you could either be in the position of being a question mark or a dog. And then on the left hand axis you can see the market growth rate. What type of growth rate are you achieving? Is it a low growth rate or high growth rate? So in terms of cash usage, so if you're using a high if you're demonstrating a high market growth rate but relatively low market share, then obviously you're going to be positioned as a question mark. And if you had a low market growth rate and a relatively low market share, then you would be positioned as a dog. But when you enter the marketplace, your positioning will be moving. It won't be static. You'll be moving from one section to another depending upon what marketing and what investment you're actually undertaking. So, for example, if you started off as a question mark with a new product, say if you had the new iPhone 3 when it first came out, then not many people knew about the new iPhone 3 when it first came out. So it would have been maybe a high growth rate, but a relatively low market share. Therefore, putting it in as a question mark. But then, as the market share grew, then this question mark, the iPhone 3 when it first came out, would move into a star, showing high market growth and high market share. And then so stars, stars would be bringing in a lot of cash into the business, but you would have spent a lot of money developing that product to get it to a star. Eventually, though, the star will not become a star. A star will fall into a cash cow, where you have low growth rate, but you still have a high market share. So you still have a high market share, but a low growth rate. Then that falls into a cash cow. So here now, as a cash cow, you're not actually spending as much money as you did when it was a question mark to invest in advertising and marketing to get it known, to the branding and the positioning, targeting the segmentation and the research. So you're spending less money now because you've done all that research before. You may spend a certain amount of money to maintain its brand presence in the marketplace, but basically you're taking all the money that you've invested in it beforehand, and it's now a cash cow. And eventually that cash cow could end up becoming a dog. And then the question is, what do you do with the dogs with a relatively low market share and low market growth rate? Do you get rid of the dogs, or do you keep them? You don't always get rid of the dog. Sometimes there are instances where you may want to keep a dog, but in most instances, if it's a relatively low market share and low market growth rate, then you will want to discontinue that product line. So we know that we don't see iPhone 3 or iPhone 4 or many iPhone 5s on the marketplace, because the latest iPhone is the iPhone 10. And as we go on, and it keeps increasing. So we never see the earlier models of iPhones when they first came out. So they would have been discontinued. So, just as an example, I used to be the marketing manager for Stoplock, and the bottom product, the Stoplock Original, as you can see here, was the first product that I was marketing, and the company was turning over around £4 million, and they wanted to invest more money to market this product. So it had relatively, high market growth but low um, market share. So they wanted to spend money, and they put money into marketing. They, had a sales team distribute this and sell this through various to various suppliers and retailers in the UK, including Halfords, B&Q's, the Texas, Motorworld, A1 Motor Stores. And as more money was pumped in, the Stop Lock Original became a star. And then once that started to bring in more money, then we started to develop new product ranges, new products to target different segments of the marketplace. So we developed the Stop Lock Airbag. At that time, in the 1993, these products were priced at £29.99. So there were psychological price points. There was below £10, the Crook Lock at £9.99. Then there was some other competitive products at £19.99. Then there was the majority of the marketplace at £29.99 approximately. And then if you went up for the higher quality products, they would be priced at £49.99 or around £99.99 for the disc locks. So later on, because this was such a success for the company, the stop locks were continued to have money invested in, to increased money in terms of marketing. It was then sold abroad in terms of France and Germany, and then the company tried to break into the US marketplace, again with different types of product ranges, and then expanding upon the Stoplock brand security range with the motorbike lock, FSDU, contactless protection card, anti-theft, protection pouch, and various other products as well, to enhance upon the Stoplock brand, which was being marketed for the Stoplock security range. So here we can see a success story, and this range of products basically turned the company around from being a £4 million company turnover to a £20 million company turnover within a 5-year period from when I joined. So we can see here as an example of where the stop locks had moved in from a question mark to a star, and then eventually falling down into a cash cow. And it's still in this position now up until this day. It's still positioned as a cash cow, still being sold in Halfords, in A1 Motor Stores, Motor Worlds up and down the country. And it's still selling, but not as much advertising being done to market these products. But really, this is continuing from their initial investment, initial success, and initial branding and marketing spent to take it from the question mark to the star, but now into the cash cow. There were one or two other products which we had as well, adding to this range, which were priced at £19.99, but these individual products fell into the dog position, and then they were discontinued because they had low market growth and low market share at that price point at £19.99. The other things that the company did, I was marketing, was a range of auto accessory products, including car covers, bags and organizers, in-car comfort accessories, dog and pet travel accessories, emergency breakdown lights, and so on and so forth. So again, this was an area. So the company did a range of auto accessory products and mechanical security devices, specifically targeted at cars. Basically targeted at the UK marketplace. So opting for a domestic orientated kind of marketing approach, even though they did get sales from other European countries, including the US for certain products, France and Germany. Limitations of the BCG Matrix. The BCG Matrix is considered to be too simple. Market is not well defined in this model. high markets, does not always lead to high profit. You know, at times dogs can earn more than cash cows. The model overlooks other indicators of profitability. Only two classifications, high and low, but they could be medium. I mean, this is also true as well because with the auto accessory range, we had some dogs within the auto accessory range, but these dogs were not discontinued because, in terms of the independent auto accessory market and the A1 motor stores and the motor worlds up north in the UK, the company sold a range of auto accessory products to these independent stores, which are basically the competitors to Halfords. And selling in a range, sometimes you have to have a full range, which includes some dogs in there. So, because there will be some customers who come in to look to buy these specific products. And if customers are coming in and sometimes they want these products that don't exist elsewhere in Halfords or other places, then they come in and then they have an opportunity to buy something else. So again, it's not always that you see a dog and with the dog you discontinue that product line. We also have the growth share matrix. Now with the growth share matrix, it's kind of determining, you know, where you're going and what you're doing in terms of, are you going to be launching new markets, new products for market penetration into established products with established markets, or are you going for, um, you know, uh, you know, established products into new markets, or are you going for new products in terms of product expansion into existing markets, or are you going for diversification with new products into new markets, which again is a higher risk because you don't really know if those new products are going to succeed in the new marketplace. You don't know the needs of these customers because you haven't been dealing in that marketplace. You know your own marketplace and you know your customers and your segmented customers and who you're targeting, but you don't necessarily know the demographics and the profiles and the targeted customers in a new market with new products. So therefore it's going to be a lot more risk in that marketplace. And the question really is, what do you do? So as regards to the company I was working for, Metro Products, well, their core business was to do with auto accessories and mechanical security. So they already had established products. So one of the things that they did was they looked for using and targeting the established products into new markets, which was medium risk market expansion. And one of the things they did was to obviously sell the stop locks to Halfords and B&Qs in Texas, A1 motor stores and the motor worlds up and down the country, auto accessory retail stores. But then they did market expansion and they targeted the franchise dealers with cars on their forecourts. And a package was put together for these franchise dealers, and mail shots were taken, and agents and sales reps went into individual franchise dealers to sell these packages in. And again, this brought in another revenue stream to the company that didn't exist before, and this was market expansion in terms of a new market sector that they hadn't previously targeted. I mean, another market sector, believe it or not, was targeting at that time in the 1990s CPOs, crime prevention officers. Now, crime prevention officers dealt with neighborhood watches, and the neighborhood watches obviously were very crime and security conscious. So offers were also made at a discounted price of these mechanical security devices to the crime prevention officers who were in contact with neighborhood watch groups, offering discounts to these people who were very security conscious. Again, another area for revenue to come in, not targeted at the retail outlet but a different market. So you have to look at these things and say, you got your existing products, where else in terms of market expansion can you sell this? And again, one of the other things that we did as well, adopting kind of like a multi-domestic orientated philosophy, was to take on board and capitalize on the sales and orders that were coming in from France and Germany. So now the company was getting orders, having attended various shows from Germany and from France, and so an export manager was hired. An export manager was hired to, you know, to target these new markets that we weren't actually selling to. And then that export manager developed that business to, you know, link up with agents who wanted to buy the product, and then, you know, stock it and buy it and bring it over to their own country, and then be the main agent within that country. So again, this was another revenue stream in terms of, you know, market expansion, developing new markets that they weren't actually targeting before. But in addition to that, the company, you know, were all about innovation and new products. They had a good design team, and they had the stop lock, which was brand new, and they developed that. They even had the flexi cap fuel cap, which they had a patent on. And the flexi cap was a replacement fuel cap for when you had lost your fuel cap, and it could fit basically on 95% of all cars. So if you lost your fuel cap, so again, this was a very good product, and it was patented. So, you know, and it was on there for 25 years, and this brought in you know, a, you know, steady stream of revenue for the company. The other things they did was to link up with new designers and new inventors who had new products that could target the market. Another product range was the it's called SafeFit. SafeFit was a new product, but, you know, trying to target an existing marketplace in terms of, you know, car seats. So the conventional car seat was the child would sit down in a complete car seat, but this was just a seat, and the construction of it allowed the seat belts to be constructed in a certain way so that the seat belt didn't actually come under the child's stomach, because in the event of a crash at 30 miles an hour, the child would have you know, internal injuries, and normally the child's seatbelt, unless redirected, would come across the child's face, because the child's body frame is smaller than an adult. So this new product called SafeFit was designed by an inventor, and this was another product and a product range that was built around targeting the comfort of children in cars. Again, another new product for the company. And then you have diversification, which is completely new products into completely new markets, which is something that we really, which company didn't opt for, but they certainly offered for, you know, going for low risk market penetration, definitely in terms of sales reps and sales agents into the UK marketplace, in terms of market expansion, definitely in terms of other export markets, and, you know, they also, you know, went for medium risk in terms of product expansion. So definitely, you need to decide what you're doing and where you're going, and what resources you're going to use to go where. So if we again look at the growth share matrix, we can see that with the penetration strategies, again, you know, useful internal, both market share growth, compete more effectively online, you know, customer loyalty improvement, you know, mitigate existing customers online and add value to existing products, services and brand. Customer value improvement, increase customer profitability by decreasing cost and serve to increase the purchase or usage frequency and quantity, therefore trying to get more revenue from your existing customers. Increased market penetration strategies. If we look at, you know, market development strategies, again, you know, geographic markets and new customer segments, targeting new segments. In terms of when we had these stop locks, we created a new product, stop lock airbag, for the 4x4 cars. So again, this was targeted at a specific type of customer who drove specific types of cars. And, you know, even in terms of sales orders coming in from France and Germany, again, new geographic markets, you know, existing products into new markets that we weren't actually selling to before. Again, if we look at the product development strategies, you know, use internet for adding value to existing products, developing digital products, you know, new delivery, new models, you know, changing payment models, subscription, per use, you know, bundling, you know, increased product range, especially e-retailers. Okay, so here we're talking about, you know, existing markets, you know, with new products. So new products for existing markets, but definitely because you do need new products for existing markets, because the lifeblood of any company is going to be new products. And if you don't have a constant stream of new products coming into your company, then looking at the product life cycle in terms of the introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, at some point or another, those product lines will begin to decline. So you need other product lines to replace them. So you need new products in your existing markets. And then alternatively, you could have new products, into new markets, which includes your diversification strategies, using the internet to support, for instance, diversification into related businesses, diversification into unrelated businesses, upstream integration with suppliers, and downstream integration with intermediaries. So again, we can see how this growth share matrix develops. But it's not to say that if you are you're looking for market penetration. In fact, you might be doing a lot of these things. If you're doing market penetration, eventually you will need to also do product development strategies, and likewise you may want to do market development strategies as well. So it's not to say that you'll be doing one, but the question is, you may be doing many of these, but the question really is what is your focus in terms of your resources, time, so where are you going to focus it on, and what is your overall company strategy? Is it a domestic approach, a multi-domestic approach, or a global approach, which will depend upon what strategies you actually go for. Okay, so thank you today from the 10. Thank you.